Now it's time for our challenge recipe, our mac and cheese. This is gonna take a little bit of extra work, but it is so worth it. So let's start with 3 cups of dried rotini pasta. I highly recommend using rotini for this because it catches all the cheese sauce in its nooks and crannies, and it's amazing. We're going to throw that into some boiling water, and because the cheese is going to be the star of the show, a tiny pinch of salt is all we need, no wine or anything. And give that a stir. And let that cook on high, boiling, for 20 minutes until it's nice and tender. So to start the sauce, we are first going to melt half a cup of butter right into the pan over medium heat, and let that butter get stirred around until it's perfectly melted down. This is going to be the base of our roux. A roux is a technique for thickening a sauce in cooking. It is a combination of a fat, in this case butter, with flour. So once your butter is melted, add 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and whisk that into the butter. Now keep whisking constantly for about 1 minute to fully incorporate all the flour to properly form this roux. And this is what is going to make our sauce extra thick and creamy. So once your roux is done, go ahead and add 2 cups of vegan half and half. And then 1 cup of plain unsweetened almond milk. Make sure it's not flavored with vanilla or anything. And whisk that together. Now what's going to happen is the roux is going to thicken the sauce. So turn up the heat slightly to medium-high and let it get thick. This takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Let's watch the process. So after a few minutes, this is what the sauce looks like. The butter and flour have thickened it, and as you can see, it has a thicker consistency. And after 10 minutes, this is what it looks like. It's much thicker. It has almost a porridgey, pudding-like texture, and this is the texture we want. This means our roux is done and we are ready to add the next ingredients. So be patient until it thickens properly, and now let's add the spices. So in this bowl, if you can see it, I kind of poured it in right away. I have half a teaspoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, salt, and pepper. And I just pour it in there all at once. And now I'm adding 1 cup of vegan sour cream and half a cup of vegan cream cheese, followed by 4 cups of vegan shredded cheddar cheese. I'm using the Daiya brand. I have found that it tastes really good in this recipe. And what you're going to do is stir everything together until it's perfectly smooth. You want to form a very soft cheese sauce. So have the heat on medium-high, or excuse me, just medium heat, and stir everything together. This takes a few minutes. We're looking for a Velveeta-like consistency. And as you can see, the color, everything is just wonderful. I did add a bit of extra smoked paprika. I wanted more flavor and a little bit more of a dark orange color, which the smoked paprika provides. After that, it was perfect. It didn't need anything else. So once your Velveeta-like sauce is formed, go ahead and drain the rotini pasta. If it's cooked and tender, drain it and add it to the cheese sauce. Stir everything around, get it perfectly coated, and look at this. This was so amazing. If you are feeling impatient, it is good enough to eat just like this. You don't have to continue cooking it, but to make this a really classic mac and cheese, we're going to bake it in the oven. But if you want to, it's perfectly fine to eat right at this stage because it was just so good. Okay, now for the baking, transfer the mac and cheese to a casserole dish or a loaf pan. Here I used a loaf pan. And top it with a handful of the shredded cheddar cheese. Make sure the oven is preheated to 375 degrees and pop it in for 15 to 20 minutes. And then this is what you get. This is mac and cheese heaven. This was like the mac and cheese of my dreams. It was so amazing. I cannot describe that. It was just so soft, so tender. It melted in your mouth. It was just perfect. And that came from adding all the essential elements of creaminess, like half and half and cream cheese. And then we have the savoriness from the butter. It was just perfect. So make sure you serve this at a picnic, a barbecue, a potluck. You're going to wow the crowd because no one will believe this is dairy-free mac and cheese. It's just too amazing. It's incredible. So I hope you take the time to make this recipe. Give yourself a pat on the back for making it all the way through the course and trying out a more challenging recipe with a lot of ingredients.